what is science? Many people think that uniformitarianism and deep time, that is the millions of the years, are science. And the explanation of flood geology is faith. But this is simply not true. First of all, what is the definition of science? Science is mainly deductions you make based on observations and repeatability. And I ask you, can we observe the formation of thick sedimentary rocks over 1,000 miles? Can we observe things like this going on? We observe little tiny processes of erosion and deposition along a floodplain, along a stream, but we don't observe these big rock formations forming today. Moreover, it has to be repeatable to be science. Now, neither uniformitarianism and deep time are repeatable. It's in the past, it's history. It's really not science. It's really faith on both parts. Now, some people think that evolution is a fact. Well, what we observe out there, by the way, the definition of evolution is pretty tricky. Some people think it's just change with time. But all I have to do is look in the mirror once a month and I see change with time. So that's not correct. Some people think it's the slight changes in types of dogs or the beaks of finches. No, that's not evolution either. Some people call that microevolution, but I don't think it's even evolution. I think that's diversification from the genetics already in place in the creatures at creation. No, well, when we talk about evolution, we're talking about from molecules to man. Molecules forming the first cell, and they divide, forming multicelled organisms, and so on forth up until you reach man. That's what the big debate over evolution and creation is all about, and we can call that macroevolution. But is evolution observed? Is it science? It is not, because you can't run these evolutionary processes over again, and they're not repeatable. We don't observe them, they're not repeatable, therefore they can't be science. So this whole issue of uniformitarianism versus flood geology, evolution versus creation, is just not science. It's essentially the history of one worldview versus the history of another worldview. A worldview is how you view the world, your presuppositions, how you think. So it's a history of one worldview versus the history of the biblical worldview. It's the history of the atheistic worldview developed in 1750 to 1850 versus the biblical worldview. The biblical worldview used to dominate till 1800, until naturalism, that is, nature's all there is, took over during the so-called Age of the Enlightenment. Now, speaking of the Enlightenment was fairly complex. There was different emphasis in different countries, but eventually the French version, which is atheistic, took over, and that became the Enlightenment. And by the way, those principles of the Enlightenment are still assumed today, and that's why uniformitarianism and deep time and evolution are the only game in town in the culture. This is all you can teach the public schools and at the universities. But there's a whole different way of looking at things, a whole different way. When we bring the Bible back into history, you see tremendous evidence for the creation as well as Noah's flood.